Welcome, everybody, to the Jedi.net RP podcast, episode 1, The Final Battle. Darth Nahiris, will you introduce yourself?
Hey everyone, I'm Chad. I'm going to be going by Darth Nearest or Nearest for this chat, just to avoid any confusion.
Oblivious Knight, will you introduce yourself?
Hello, I'm Oblivious Knight. My major character is Armiana Drago. I am the Jedi Grandmaster.
Nice.
I will be going by Oblivious for this chat, because my name is also Chad.
Epic. And I am Delta 73. My main character is Delta 73. Alternatively, I run the Rebel Alliance under Raven, Empress Raven. I don't remember her last name I tacked on. I don't know. So we've gathered today to talk about a transition of power, a flip between the Sith, who are currently running the galaxy, and the Rebel Alliance to become the New Republic. So, Nearest, give us some background here.
All right. Well, as you all know, it's been a bit of an interesting time for the Sith, and there was a lot of frustration going on behind the scenes, and a lot of people were dealing with some pretty heavy burnout and just general unhappiness with the situation and exhaustion, and it wasn't healthy. And our first priority always is the health and well-being of our players.
Yes.
I mean, usually it's fun, but if it gets to the point where health and well-being are an issue, that's always the priority.
Exactly. So right now, at least in the Rebel Alliance and Oblivious, I'm sure it's the same in the Jedi Order. We're kind of suffering from this war fatigue. We've been fighting for the better half of, let's see, when was the Galactic Alliance? The Galactic Alliance fell late 2018, I believe.
That sounds about right.
We've been fighting for almost 3 years in this never-ending war. And it's been fun, and I don't think it's ever been not fun. It is good to recognize that the time has come for at least a period of peace and a period of character development where people can play characters without worrying that they're going to miss a battle by doing a mission by themselves somewhere, or doing a romantic plot. So yeah, go for it.
I think also the pace started accelerating towards the end, because the campaign system is supposed to be an aggressor and a defender pretty clearly laid out, and there was some confusion on that. And we probably should have done a better job of saying, no, this is how it's going to be, because there's a reason it's laid out like this. But we didn't, and both sides started going on the offensive, and people couldn't keep up with it.
And it's been battle after battle after battle, nonstop, essentially, for the last year and a half.
Sometimes battles on top of each other.
Exactly, battles on battles on battles.
And basically people having to dedicate a lot of their time to basically filling the rosters for fights, which, while fun, it's not the only form of role-playing.
Now, I do want to say here, as an aside, we have had what we call a final battle in the roleplay before. It was the great Battle of the Last Death Star, which so many of our new players don't really know about. But let me just lay this out really quick. In 2011, which was 10 years ago, the roleplay decided it was the end of the fleet system. So they ended the Great Galactic War with the final battle, and that was the end. That was supposedly the end of all fleet fights. That was the great period of peace, and there was going to be people playing cops and robbers and, bounty hunting and stuff like that. Well, eventually we lost most of the role players at the time because it wasn't very fun. It was pretty boring. People moved on with life. Star Wars didn't have a new movie. There wasn't a lot of motivation. So we essentially, everyone left, and then they came back, and there was some drama there, but we'll leave that in the side. But I do want to stress here that just because this is a final battle for this campaign, it does not mean that the fleet system is over. does not mean the Galactic War is done. It's just in a period of peace. So it'll come back around again. But for now, this is the final battle for this campaign. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, and basically there's going to be a short quiet period where people can focus on their characters, but it is not the end of combat. It is not the end of galactic conquest.
Exactly. So what's going to happen at the end of this final battle? And we'll get into the when and where of the final battle in a bit. But there's going to be a transition of power between the Sith Empire and the Rebel Alliance. And it's up to the Rebel Alliance of what they want to build, whether they want to build, what kind of a government, New Republic, a Galactic Alliance, whatever they want to do. But Nereus, could you lay out what the idea of the campaign system is for the galaxy? Who has control of what planets, if you know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah. The original idea behind the campaign system was that whoever is the dominant faction largely has control over pretty much almost the entire galaxy, but not necessarily 100% on every planet. There will be Sith cults out there and hidden temples, but the places that the Sith have full dominion, like they did in the old days, will be extremely limited to like 1 or 2 planets.
Okay, so it's not going to be like a Civil War map where it's got one side of the galaxy is red and one side of the galaxy is blue. It's an actual like rebellion to a galactic empire type of thing.
New Republic flags rule across the galaxy.
Awesome. And hopefully the Jedi Order flag as well. That would be cool.
We have a flag?
I don't know. You have a mantra at least. I don't know if that comes with a flag. So, Oblivious, tell us about the current Jedi Order and what its plans are for peace.
So there are a lot of potential in-character expansion ideas and planets that are interesting where people can have their own personal role-playing on. There are several worlds with non-Jedi force organizations, which I think would make for some very interesting role-playing, which are typically kind of overlooked by the Jedi. For example, the Harun Kal, despite it being a veritable death world, have the Koronai. Tatooine, even though it is the titular wretched hive of scum and villainy, has a very interesting philosophical organization in the Bomar monks. And a lot of the rest of the RP is going to be focused on, well, the galaxy's kind of in a little bit of a ruined state. There's been a lot of planets that have been bombarded, strip mined, and turned into ruin by the escalation in the most recent battles. And we have a galaxy to rebuild and a government to help form.
Perfect. And the same's for the Rebel Alliance. If we achieve power, we don't fall apart. I hope the plan is to essentially rebuild the galaxy, establish a military, establish a senate, that kind of thing. If people wanted a senate, I don't know. And Nereus, what are your plans for the Sith Order after the transition of power?
What I would like to do is give our Sith time to actually have training and work on personal projects and building stuff without having to be carted off to battle after battle. I'm also going to be trying to arrange for catastrophes for the Jedi to deal with that aren't necessarily straight up combat, because Nyrus's goal is to distract the Republic from thinking about a chance of a Sith return and have them looking elsewhere. That's what her goal is.
Wonderful. All right. Now that we've discussed about that, let's get into the actual last battle itself. Oblivious, what does a normal player in the RP, what can they do here? How many characters can they bring, and what kind of impact can they have on the fight?
All right, so there's a few layers that can be happening in this battle. We've agreed that because fleet fights are very work intensive for the moderator who is in charge, there's multiple steps of reporting, checking math. While there is going to be a fleet fight, it's going to be purely in the background. It's not happening mechanically. What we are going to be focusing on is player-on-player combat. The idea is that people who want to have a moderated battle, 3 turns, moderator comes in, and it affects the overall battle, it's going to be 1 player, 1 character. However, we also recognize that there are a lot of characters who have very good reason to be present at this climactic battle. For example, some people have Sith soldiers or rebel marines, or just people who happen to have a grudge match against a guy on the other side. So in that case, you're absolutely invited to show up and have a player-to-player coordinated fight between the two of you, but it's not going to be a moderated duel. It's going to be for your own fun, within reason, of course, because there is the possibility of there being some sort of massively destructive event, and the moderators will be on standby to make sure that nothing egregious happens.
Right. So no one's going to fire a Death Star into a player's face. In other words, if they're not there for the duel.
Basically, yeah.
Perfect. And Nearest, where will this take place and when?
Nar Shaddaa, and we are
my city planet. You're going to come to my hometown?
And here
Yes,
I'm thinking,
I
oh
am.
no, not bloody again.
Oh dear. So it's going to be Nar Shaddaa. And when will it be happening?
Well, I did say to my sis that to go in one last round of like raiding and preparing and stuff like that. So near future.
Okay.
Like obviously, they shouldn't be going off on like a half a year quest or anything.
Right. And speaking about half a year quests, having fought in several of these very long last battles, these can take very many months. So I would encourage you not to keep all of your characters at this fight, because sometimes duels take a very long time. And so any characters, any players, I would say keep a character or so outside of the final fight. That way you have something to do while the shenanigans unroll. Sorry, Nearest. Keep going.
Oh, no worries. So I would say probably at the latest. Well, let me. The other thing, I just looked at dates and I realized that we need to be aware that Christmas is coming up in terms of when this would be coming down or going down, and that's always a time when we have lower activity.
Of course.
So do we want to try and get this in and mostly resolved before Christmas, or?
I would say if it's possible, let's play it on ear, but I would say let's try to see if we can start by October.
Okay.
And if it's not looking like that, then we might push it after Christmas.
Yeah, I think that within a month to a month and a half is reasonable for people to have a brief plot line, to wrap up their current business, and to get to their mustering points.
So here's what I'm going to recommend everyone do. If you are interested in taking part in this, I want you to approach your faction leader, or if you're not part of a faction, approach a faction leader if you want to be a mercenary for a side, and arrange with them who you're going to bring. So if you've got 3 characters, I want to fight with this. If you want to fight for the Sith Order, you would approach Nereus and tell him that's who you're going to be bringing. And let's see, are we missing anything else, gentlemen? Is that it? Is this how I end the podcast?
I did want to touch upon the fact that the Sith are intending to, whether it's true or not, appear to lose in this battle.
Okay.
So I don't want people to get sweaty about anything.
Okay. So you don't want we're going to try to avoid super competitive.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Good. No kill shots for 11 characters this time.
Well, hopefully by then we'll have gotten rid of the kill shot rules anyway.
Watch me. I can delete it right now, but I'm not going to. Oblivious, anything left on your end?
Just looking over my outline. Yeah, so while we are going to be moving into a transitory period where the Rebel Alliance is ascendant, it's going to be on us to determine the government that comes afterwards.
Yep.
Whether it's a new republic, like it was in the early expanded universe, or a resurrected galactic alliance, or something else. These are all these are all things that we're going to need to world build, and will definitely be keeping us busy in the near future. There's going to be a galaxy that we're going to be counted on to be leading in the near future.
Perfect. All right, everybody. I really appreciate your time. And thank you for listening. May the Force be with you.
Cheers.